Mother Mary, revered as a central figure in Christianity, has been known for her profound messages of love, faith, and divine guidance. Among her timeless teachings, one powerful message stands out: God's grace is sufficient for all your needs. This message encapsulates the essence of trust in the divine providence and emphasizes the limitless abundance of God's grace available to every individual. It resonates across religious boundaries, inviting believers to embrace a profound sense of hope, strength, and comfort in their daily lives. In this exploration, we will delve into 5 subtopics that shed light on the significance of Mother Mary's message and its transformative power. From understanding the concept of God's grace to seeking and extending it in times of need, we will embark on a journey to unravel the profound wisdom encapsulated within these words. Through reflection and contemplation, we can deepen our connection with the divine and discover the boundless blessings that arise from trusting in God's grace as a source of fulfillment, healing, and peace. The concept of God's grace. Understanding the meaning of God's grace requires a recognition of our inherent unworthiness and the acknowledgement that we cannot earn or achieve it through our own efforts alone. It is a divine attribute that flows from God's infinite love and benevolence. Grace is not a transaction, it is an expression of divine generosity showered upon humanity out of sheer compassion and mercy. Exploring the significance of grace in religious and spiritual contexts reveals its transformative power. In Christianity, grace is seen as central to salvation, as believers are believed to be saved through faith in God's grace rather than through their own works. It is through grace that believers are forgiven, redeemed, and reconciled with the divine. Grace empowers individuals to rise above their imperfections and find spiritual healing, restoration, and growth. Grace is not confined to any particular religion or faith tradition. Its essence resonates across spiritual paths, serving as a guiding principle for seekers of truth and enlightenment. In various religious traditions, grace is regarded as the catalyst for inner awakening, enlightenment, and liberation. It is viewed as a divine force that leads individuals towards spiritual transformation, inner peace, and union with the divine. How grace can be experienced and manifested in one's life is a deeply personal and subjective journey. Grace is often experienced as a profound sense of inner peace, love, and acceptance. It can manifest through moments of serendipity, synchronicity, or unexplainable interventions that offer guidance, protection, or blessings. Grace can touch every aspect of life, permeating relationships, work, health, and personal well-being. It is in surrendering to the flow of divine grace that individuals find solace in times of difficulty, strength in times of weakness, and hope in times of despair. To tap into the transformative power of grace, individuals are invited to cultivate an open heart, a willingness to receive, and a deep trust in the divine providence. Through prayer, meditation, and acts of compassion, individuals create a receptive space within themselves to invite and welcome grace into their lives. By aligning their intentions and actions with the divine will, they become vessels through which grace can flow, radiating love, kindness, and forgiveness to others. Trusting in God's providence. One of the fundamental aspects emphasized in Mother Mary's message of God's grace is sufficient for all your needs is the importance of trusting in God's providence. Trusting in God's providence means having unwavering faith in the divine plan and believing that God will provide for our needs in His perfect timing and according to His infinite wisdom. In a world filled with uncertainties and challenges, trusting in God's providence can be a source of great comfort and assurance. It requires surrendering our own desires, plans, and timelines, and instead, placing our trust in the divine guidance and care. This trust goes beyond mere belief. It is a deep knowing that we are held in the loving embrace of a higher power who knows what is best for us. Trusting in God's providence does not mean that life will be free from difficulties or that all our desires will be fulfilled exactly as we envision. It means having the faith to accept that even in the face of adversity or unmet expectations, God's plan is unfolding in a way that serves our highest good and spiritual growth. It is an invitation to relinquish control, release attachments, and find solace in the belief that God's grace will sustain us through every circumstance. By trusting in God's providence, we cultivate a sense of peace and serenity, knowing that we are not alone in our journey. We develop the resilience to face challenges with courage and the confidence to navigate through the unknown. Trusting in God's providence allows us to let go of worry, anxiety, and fear as we realize that we are held in the loving embrace of a divine presence that is infinitely wise and compassionate. Trusting in God's providence is not a passive act, it is an active engagement with faith and surrender. It involves aligning our thoughts, intentions, and actions with the divine will, seeking guidance through prayer and contemplation, and remaining open to the signs and synchronicities that point us in the right direction. It requires cultivating a deep relationship with the divine, knowing that we can rely on God's grace to provide for our needs. Throughout history, countless individuals have borne witness to the transformative power of trusting in God's providence. Their stories serve as reminders that even in the most challenging circumstances, when all seems lost, the hand of divine grace can intervene, guiding, protecting, and providing in ways that surpass human understanding. Trusting in God's providence is an ongoing journey of faith, requiring patience, humility, and an unwavering belief in the goodness of God. As we surrender our limited perspective and place our trust in the divine, we open ourselves to receive the blessings and provisions that flow from God's abundant grace. It is through this trust that we find solace, strength, and a deep sense of purpose in the unfolding tapestry of our lives. Finding strength in weakness. In the face of weakness, be it physical, emotional, or spiritual, society often encourages us to hide, overcome, or compensate for our perceived shortcomings. However, Mother Mary's message reminds us that it is precisely in our moments of weakness that we can experience the transformative power of God's grace. When we acknowledge our limitations and vulnerabilities, we open ourselves up to a deeper reliance on the divine. It is in our moments of weakness that we are humbled, reminding us of our need for something greater than ourselves. By surrendering our pride and self-reliance, we make room for divine strength to flow through us. Finding strength in weakness does not imply denying our inherent capabilities or seeking to perpetuate a state of helplessness. Instead, it is an invitation to recognize that our true strength lies in our ability to align ourselves with the divine and draw upon the limitless resources of grace. It is a shift from relying solely on our own human efforts to opening ourselves up to the transformative power of God's love, compassion, and support. Throughout history, individuals have exemplified the beauty of finding strength in weakness. Mother Mary herself, in her humility and surrender, became a vessel through which God's grace was manifest. Saints, spiritual leaders, and ordinary people alike have discovered that their moments of weakness became catalysts for spiritual awakening, compassion, and resilience. In finding strength in weakness, we cultivate a deeper sense of empathy and compassion towards others who may be facing similar struggles. Our own experiences of vulnerability enable us to connect with and support others in their moments of need, serving as a source of encouragement and understanding. To find strength in weakness, we are called to practice self-compassion and self-acceptance. Rather than viewing our weaknesses as flaws or failures, we can approach them with kindness and embrace them as opportunities for growth. It is in acknowledging our weaknesses that we can tap into the divine strength that surpasses our human limitations. In seeking strength in weakness, prayer, meditation, and contemplation become powerful tools for connecting with the divine. By cultivating a deep relationship with the divine presence, we draw upon the wellspring of grace that strengthens and sustains us. We learn to surrender our struggles, worries, and insecurities, trusting that God's grace will provide the strength we need to navigate life's challenges. Finding strength in weakness is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing journey of growth and transformation. It requires cultivating a mindset of humility, surrender, and trust in the divine providence. As we embrace our weaknesses and align ourselves with God's grace, we discover a reservoir of strength that empowers us to face life's trials with resilience, courage, and unwavering faith. Seeking God's grace in times of need. When faced with challenges, seeking God's grace allows us to shift our focus from the external circumstances to the infinite wellspring of love, compassion, and support that emanates from the divine. It is an acknowledgement that we are not alone in our trials and that there is a divine presence ready to guide, comfort, and uplift us. Seeking God's grace begins with a humble recognition of our own limitations and a surrendering of our egoic desires for control. It is an act of trust and faith in the divine providence, knowing that God's grace is abundant and available to all who earnestly seek it. Prayer becomes a powerful tool in seeking God's grace. Through heartfelt prayers, we express our deepest longings, fears, and hopes, laying them before the divine presence. In these moments of prayer, we open ourselves to receive divine guidance, strength, and solace. It is through this communion with the divine that we invite grace to flow into our lives. Seeking God's grace in times of need also involves cultivating an attitude of openness and receptivity. It requires developing a spiritual sensitivity to recognize the signs, synchronicities, and subtle nudges that indicate the presence of grace. By attuning our hearts and minds to the divine, we create a space within ourselves to receive the blessings and assistance that grace provides. In addition to prayer, seeking God's grace involves cultivating a deeper relationship with the divine through spiritual practices such as meditation, contemplation, and acts of service. These practices help quiet the mind, deepen our connection with the divine, and create a sense of inner stillness that allows grace to permeate our being. Importantly, seeking God's grace does not guarantee that our circumstances will change according to our desired outcomes. Instead, it grants us the inner strength, resilience, and peace to navigate life's challenges with grace and equanimity. It provides us with the wisdom and discernment to see beyond temporary setbacks and embrace the greater purpose that may unfold through our trials. Through seeking God's grace, we realize that grace is not limited to a one-time intervention but an ever-present force that supports us throughout our journey. It is in our times of need that we can experience the transformative and healing power of divine grace, finding comfort, guidance, and renewal in the loving embrace of the divine. By seeking God's grace in times of need, we cultivate a deepening trust in the divine providence and develop an unwavering faith that sustains us through life's ups and downs. It is a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles and that God's grace is sufficient to meet all our needs, providing the strength, wisdom, and comfort required to navigate the challenges of life. Extending God's grace to others. Extending God's grace to others begins with recognizing the inherent worth and divinity within every individual. It involves cultivating a mindset of empathy, understanding, and non-judgment, acknowledging that each person is on their own unique journey and deserving of compassion and kindness. Practicing forgiveness is a significant way to extend God's grace to others. Forgiveness releases the burden of resentment, anger, and judgment, allowing space for healing, reconciliation, and restoration. By extending forgiveness, we mirror the divine grace that forgives unconditionally, offering others the opportunity for redemption and growth. Compassion is another vital aspect of extending God's grace. It is the ability to empathize with the suffering and struggles of others, reaching out with kindness, care, and support. Compassion recognizes the interconnectedness of all beings and cultivates a deep sense of unity and love. Acts of service and generosity are tangible expressions of extending God's grace to others. By offering our time, resources, and talents to uplift and assist those in need, we become vessels of God's grace, helping to alleviate suffering and bring comfort and relief to others. Extending God's grace also involves creating an environment of acceptance and inclusion where all individuals feel valued, respected, and loved. It means embracing diversity, celebrating differences, and fostering a sense of belonging for every person we encounter. In our interactions with others, we can embody the qualities of patience, understanding, and non-judgment, allowing space for growth, transformation, and healing. We can offer a listening ear, a compassionate heart, and a helping hand, extending the grace that we ourselves have received. By extending God's grace to others, we participate in the ongoing work of co-creating a world filled with love, harmony, and justice. We contribute to the healing of broken relationships, the bridging of divides, and the fostering of unity and reconciliation. Ultimately, extending God's grace to others is an act of deep spiritual significance. It is a way of honoring the divine spark within each person and recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings. As we extend grace, we become bearers of light, spreading the transformative power of divine love and compassion to uplift and inspire those around us. In conclusion, Mother Mary's message of God's grace is sufficient for all your needs encompasses profound truths that resonate across religious and spiritual traditions. The concept of God's grace reminds us of the boundless love, compassion, and support available to us from a divine source. It invites us to trust in God's providence, finding solace, strength, and guidance in times of need. Moreover, it teaches us to find strength in weakness, embracing our vulnerabilities as opportunities for spiritual growth and transformation. Seeking and extending God's grace are intertwined practices that bring depth and meaning to our lives. By seeking God's grace, we cultivate a deeper connection with the divine, opening ourselves to receive the blessings and provisions that flow from divine love. Simultaneously, by extending God's grace to others, we become agents of compassion, forgiveness, and service, creating a world where love and understanding flourish. Mother Mary's message calls us to remember that God's grace knows no bounds and is available to all who seek it. It is a reminder of the divine presence that guides, sustains, and uplifts us through life's challenges. As we embrace and embody the message of God's grace, we tap into a wellspring of strength, hope, and inner peace. May we strive to live in alignment with the message of God's grace, allowing it to permeate our hearts, relationships, and actions. Let us extend grace to ourselves and others, fostering an atmosphere of love, acceptance, and forgiveness. In doing so, we become catalysts for positive change, healing, and unity in our communities and beyond. As we journey forward, may we hold fast to the profound truth that God's grace is indeed sufficient for all our needs. In its embrace, we find comfort, transformation, and a deep sense of connection to the divine. Let us walk this path with faith, gratitude, and an unwavering trust in the ever-present, all-encompassing grace that guides our lives.